I've spent a lot of time thinking about immigration, probably because it's 75 years old. I've watched Canada evolve through multiple generations of it and thrive as proud Canadians. My grandparents watched waves of Irish, Italians, Poles, Ukrainians, Portuguese, and others arrive after wars, poverty, and hardship. Most came with very little except hope, work ethic, family values, and a desire to become part of Canada. We carried our traditions proudly at home, but publicly became Canadian. Our children became Canadian. Our grandchildren often barely spoke the old language anymore. The common goal seems simple: build a better life and become part of one people, living under one flag. This ain't politics from a city hall stage. It's a Sunday sermon from another age, where God and conscience help guide our way, and right was still right at the end of the day. Jeremiah 29:7. Seek the peace and prosperity of the city. Yeah, we all fall short, still we try to stand. One nation under values greater than any man. This is food for thought, not hate disguised, not hate disguised. Just an old school belief that faith helped keep us alive. I grew up believing almost every Canadian, whether first generation or seventh generation, felt pride in this country first. We argued politics, religion, unions, taxes, hockey, and language, but at the end of the day, we were still Canadians together. I never remember asking where your grandparents came from before deciding whether you belonged beside me. When I look back now, without even really thinking about it at the time, Canadian had more of a my way or the highway attitude. This was Canada. These were the customs, these were the expectations, and people adapted to them because that was part of becoming Canadian. Today it sometimes feels less like immigrants adapting and more like constant attempts to redesign the highway. That's where my discomfort today comes from. This ain't politics from a city hall stage. It's a Sunday sermon from another age, where God and conscience help guide our way, and right was still right at the end of the day. 1 Corinthians 9:22. I have become all things to all people. Walk among the people humbly, learn the ways and earn your place, but never lose the truth within you, or the values time can't erase. This is food for thought, not hate disguised, not hate disguised. Just an old school belief that faith helped keep us alive. Modern immigration often feels different, not because of race or nationality, but because identity itself now seems encouraged to remain politically separated. We hear communities speaking as communities instead of simply as Canadians. We see politicians targeting religious groups, ethnic groups, and cultural blocs instead of speaking equally to all citizens under one Canadian identity. I oppose the weakening of a unified Canadian identity. To me, immigration only truly works long-term if the ideology of the country being entered eventually takes priority over the ideology brought with you. Common sense and logic tells me that otherwise, what holds everyone together over generations? This isn't about hating immigrants. Canada is immigrants. Most of us, since 1950, came from somewhere else. If you go back 1 or 2 generations, our cultural differences are standing strong and have made our country strong. My point is that older immigration often seemed built around joining Canada, while modern multiculturalism sometimes feels more like preserving separate identities beside Canada. This ain't politics from a city hall stage. It's a Sunday sermon from another age, where God and conscience help guide our way, and right was still right at the end of the day. Romans 13:1, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities. One law holding us together, one nation standing side by side. Freedom only keeps its meaning when respect becomes our guide. This is food for thought, not hate disguised, not hate disguised. Just an old school belief that faith helped keep us alive. I still believe most immigrants, old or new, came here because Canada represented stability, fairness, safety, freedom, and opportunity. Many sacrificed everything to become part of that. They worked hard, raised families, bought homes, respected the laws, and proudly called themselves Canadian without feeling the need to separate themselves politically from everyone else around them. But if those values are what attracted people here, then shouldn't those values and that shared Canadian identity remain the priority for all of us? Leviticus 24:22, you ought to have the same law for the foreigner and the native born. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I still believe one people, one land, one legal system, one flag, and one Canadian future, shared equally.